Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is something of a once in a decade, once in a lifetime video. This is going to be taking a look at the new, unreleased, updated Artisan Shidenkai. As you guys know, around a year ago, they stopped making them, they discontinued the Shidenkai, and since then they have come out with the updated, new and improved version, and I believe I am the only person in the West with one of these pads, so I am honored. I appreciate Artisan. Yeah, without further ado, gonna get into the updated Shidenkai review. I do have this old Xsoft version of like the OG Shidenkai that I have on hand to compare with it, but yeah, it's no surprised that the new version is still going to be a speed pad, but this is going to be covering the changes made and how true it is to the original. As you guys know, the Shidenkai's coating is made out of glass beads, and they have totally changed the way, just like their philosophy for the pad, I suppose. They've seeded the glass beads deeper in the pad, which I've heard helps with durability, and I have given these pads a lot of testing, I would say like over a month, because durability is one of the biggest questions, so I just wanted to see if there was a break-in period, a breakdown. But yeah, the beads are both seeded deeper, and they're also smaller, which helps the pad feel a lot more consistent. You guys can see this like white spot here is actually like the coating starting to crack. So something like that, I'm not sure if it's impossible, but it's far less likely to happen with this new design. So there are a few differences in how the actual surfaces are going to feel. So on the old version, if you're really making any contact with your hands, whether that be your fingers or your palm, there is going to be a little prickly feeling. I can only imagine it is actually the glass beads itself. So overall, the new surface is going to feel a bit smoother to the touch, but it is still going to have that light grazing feeling on your mouse skates. So in my experience, the new surface does play faster than the old version, but obviously this is a much newer copy with improved durability versus a decently used copy of the old version. But yeah, no matter how you cut it, this pad is just very low dynamic friction, which is obviously a quality of the Shidenkai, and I'm happy that they kept it. But yeah, getting back to the topic of consistency, with the old Shidenkai, whether it was just a bit more humid or warmer in your room, warmth from your hand could cause the pad to heat up, moisten up a bit, and get a bit smoother and faster. And that is something that I have not noticed with the new pad. Just the updated surface and internal glass bead design seems to react a lot better to variances in humidity and temperature. I know this might sound nerdy, it might not make a lot of sense if you haven't had a Shidenkai in the past, but it just goes to show that when they stopped production, they just decided they were going to make a improved version that really keeps the speedy, very low initial and dynamic friction properties, but also making the pad a bit more controllable and higher quality. And yeah, the main gripe with the Shidenkai was that it wore down so quick, and if you wanted to have the out-of-the-box experience, you basically have to keep buying fresh pads. And I just can't comment on how this is going to feel after like 6 months of heavy use, obviously. But I can just notice that there has been a lot less variance in just the speed of the pad. I haven't noticed it get muddy on a single occasion, and it just doesn't feel like it's gradually slowing down. I have put a bit more time onto the Xsoft version, which honestly does not feel as soft as a typical Xsoft. The lighter test honestly doesn't do a great job, but you can see you can still press your mouse into the pad a little bit. I'll swap it out for the mid one now. We're really not going to get a lot of plushiness or any kind of significant give from the surface, but I would still say the Xsoft version is more in line with something like a Zero Soft than a Zero Xsoft, if that makes sense. So yeah, as far as which softness you should get, I feel like most people have a good understanding of the different foam firmnesses now, but if you just want the pure speed experience, go with the mid. And it is such a firm, hard pad that it really just doesn't feel like your traditional cloth pad. It just plays very different. The surface is extremely smooth, like I said. You can't really tell that it's glass infused, but obviously compared to something like the Glorious Ice, the pads like that, there is truly glass in it, and you can still see like little sparkles when you look into the surface. But yeah, just in terms of overall speed, I know I am not generally the highest on speed pads, but I truly did enjoy my experience on the Shidenkai, especially the Xsoft, because it's really not unbelievably unusably fast. If you're able to use something like, this is a Raiden X Soft, which honestly plays at a similar speed level, slightly smoother, and since it is a cloth surface, or more traditional feeling at least, I can get a bit more control from the pad itself. But yeah, like, it is not going to be a crazy difference between the Raiden and the Shidenkai. If you did use an old Shidenkai, I think you'll be completely at home on the new one. There is no exact date for launch. I did ask them. I'll put the answer I got up on the screen, and it seems like 1 to 2 months is the best case scenario, but there has been like an influx of artisan orders, which seemingly never ends, so they just can't really produce enough of the new Shidenkais at the moment. But yeah, this is a finalized copy as far as I know. Like, this is pretty much what customers are going to get. I'm not going to waste time talking about Artisan's stitching or like the pour on base itself. Obviously, it is premium. It is the best of the best. And since I just covered it, I figure a few people would ask how the Fnatic Jet compares to the Shidenkai, and it's really like, do you want a Honda Civic or a Rolls Royce? Well, fucking reverse the comparisons. But yeah, it's just not on the same level. I do have a few legitimate gripes with the pad. For one, since it has a natural rubber base, especially like when swapping directions, I can sometimes feel bumpiness in the pad. I believe if the pad was thicker, this might not be an issue, but that's a problem. Just the way the pad reacts to hand oils is so bad, and that definitely does affect the consistency as well. And there just isn't a good feeling of stopping power. Like, it's a lot more simple to actually get control and stop your mouse on the Shidenkai than it is on the Fnatic Jet. And I'm not even like exaggerating if you can see the mouse jiggling a bit after I try to stop it. But yeah, obviously you can get the Jet for around half as much as the Shidenkai, so if you do want a budget speed pad that does play similar to the Shidenkai, you can go for it. But yeah, that's going to be about all for my take on the updated Shidenkai. I definitely will be keeping the X-Soft version in my rotation as my go-to speed pad because I do enjoy testing it with mice that have a bit of weight to them, even though I am fine using mice in like the sub 50 gram range as well. And also, I do want to test the long-term durability, see when it will start to wear down, because if you can get significant long-term use, that makes this just far and away the best speed pad on the market, even though it's not technically on the market yet, but you guys get what I'm saying. As for the mid version, it's not that I don't like it, it's just a bit too stiff feeling. I do like a slight sensation of the mouse sinking into the pad to gain some more control. It just makes it feel easier to use. And yeah, all around, I'm pretty high on the pad. It's definitely better objectively than the previous version, and it doesn't lose out on the characteristics of the Shidenkai that make it feel unique and totally different than any other speed pad. And the last thing to mention, I guess, would really be the glass pad comparison. And there is going to be a fundamental difference, right? This is just a standard mouse pad with pour-on foam and a base compared to glass pads, which are just a slab of glass. So that would better compare with the mid, where it's going to be a firmer surface. But still, it just feels a lot more natural and just more comfortable to play on. There is, I would say, a similar level of operational speed to something like a Sky Pad or a Super Glide. I would say that these Shidenkais feel faster than pads like the Serapad Kin and any type of controlled glass pad, which I'm just generally not a fan of. Like, if you're going to be using glass, which is just naturally going to be a worse experience, why would you try to mimic control pads when you could just go all out on speed? If you are somebody who uses a glass pad and you like it, there's absolutely no need to go for a Shidenkai. But if you don't have either, I would say a Shidenkai might be a safer option, but then when you factor in durability, a glass pad could be a better value. So I will make a glass pad roundup, and I will include the Shidenkai in that video, and speak in some more detail. Should be a best of every world. But yeah, I'm honestly pretty high on this. Once again, I'd like to thank Artisan for sending it out. This is in no way any type of unique Artisan shilling. You guys know I have fucked with their pads forever. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you have any other questions about this or other mousepads, feel free to let me know. And there will be a new mousepad tier list coming soon. But yeah, that's going to be all. Peace.